Alright everybody, welcome back to part 2. Part 2 is because his phone was running low on a battery, so you need to make sure you went to Justin Dow's channel and watched part 1 so that you can then pick up on this part 2. And what we're doing now is, well, we're driving and we're shooting the breeze with you guys. So anyway, horror stories. Let me give you a quick tip that probably already tried it. You have trouble with a bolt in your shop, you got an open end wrench, fold up a paper towel, stick it between the wrench and the nut. I had this friend of mine, like I told you, I watched him do that one day in his shop, and I'm like sitting there wondering, like, hey, what is your cheap ass doing?
What was he doing?
He took a paper towel because he had an open end wrench over a bolt, and he had just a little tiny bit of an air gap, but he didn't want to strip out that bolt, so he took a paper towel. He folded it 1, 2, 3 times and put it on the wrench up against the bolt, and I thought,
took up the space.
I thought it was well, rather clever. And I mean, he said, oh, it's a trick that's all over the place, and I go, well, I hadn't seen it, so it's new to me. I mean,
another trick.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
That is a cool trick. I didn't think about that, to take up space. I've seen other people try to do it to keep a fastener on the end of their socket. If that actually works, I don't know. I haven't tried that, but the taking up space to crack something loose without further rounding it, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. And I
don't have magnetic sockets anymore, but Shane does. I've been using the magnetic sockets periodically. Sometimes you need a deep, sometimes you need the shallow, but I'll tell you what, they do come in handy. What I've been using as a result of not having the Sonex magnetic socket set has been grease. I'll use some trans gel or some white lithium grease, but usually trans gel is a little bit more tackier, tends to stick and hold better with inside the socket. And then I'll put the fastener in it where it squeezes it out, give it a quick wipe, and then I just fish it on down where I gotta fish it to and start tightening it up so the bolt doesn't fall out of the socket. Non-magnetic, still works, trans gel. I'm sure you guys got it.
These little rare earth magnets that you get, a lot of us have them. Sometimes I pick them up at Harbor Freight. It's actually, I think, like I've always said, not everything's junk and we all shop there, but you can get 2 of them. You can get 2 of these magnets for like $1.
Have you seen the little grabby tools?
Yeah,
squeeze
those
the thing
are cool too. The little claws.
Yeah.
So it's same dude, the mechanic guy. I told him I gotta hang around your shop. I mean, I can get good content ideas from him. Anyway, he goes, these are just all the old tricks that everybody uses. He had this Stanley screwdriver he was using. It was long to reach in for something. I don't know. So I was watching him and I go, what are you doing? And he goes, because on his toolbox he's got a bunch of these Harbor Freight magnets. Like I said, you get 2 for $1. He's got them plastered all over. He goes, I use them for different things. He goes, watch this. Takes the magnet, because the screwdriver is not magnetized, puts it on the shaft of the screwdriver, then puts this screw or whatever he was doing on the tip of it. Now it's magnetized, and so he reaches down and doesn't have to worry about dropping it off. And then you got to worry about spending 30 minutes looking for the screw that you dropped in an engine bay. So again, another clever trick. I thought, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer thing, but it's not something that I probably would have thought about right at that moment. I probably would have tried to figure out another way.
You know that magnetic bar that they sell at Harbor Freight that you can bolt onto the side of your car if you want to slap wrenches?
Right.
Sometimes I'll take if I have a non-magnetized screwdriver, I'll just take it and I'll rub it back and forth a couple times and then I just stick it on there.
That's another good idea. Rub it on there. Rub the hell out of it.
And if you even have a magnetic tray, if you have a magnetic tray, and that's your only option, same thing.
Right. You can
Quinn,
also.
did you see the Quinn magnetic screwdrivers? I actually was checking those out.
I did see them, but I don't own them though. I did see them.
No, I don't own them either. I don't want to get to the point where I've got more screwdriver sets than I know what to do with.
The problem that I run into is, for me, I'm not a mechanic, okay? But for me, I pretty much have all the tools I need.
Yeah.
And so any tool that I buy is usually an upgrade, or within this group of 5 or 6 of us that hang out and talk about projects, and sometimes out of boredom we just get together and, you know, we go bargain shopping and spend a couple hours. You know, you can, I mean, look around for bargains, and if I see anything really exciting, I try to do a video and bring it to you guys. But I got all the tools I need, and so a lot of things now are just how-to, or I start to branch out and I do product reviews on other things other than tools. But you know, you're not going to beat the price on some of this stuff. I had him walk over because a kid came in, and the kid was I don't know, he was wanting to change his oil himself or something, and I don't know, he didn't have a lot of money and all this stuff. And so he told this kid, he goes, you know, go buy yourself a funnel. If you don't want to buy a funnel, take one of these plastic oil containers. He goes, cut the bottom off of it. There's a funnel. He
Yep.
goes, at least for now.
It works in
And
most
I'm like,
areas.
so I was joking with him. I said, that's some redneck shit. And then we both started laughing. He goes, yeah, but the problem is redneck people can figure shit out. I mean, and so, whether it's the paper towel and the wrench, or whether you're cutting the bottom off something or magnetizing a screwdriver, these things actually work.
Shade tree.
Hang on just a sec, guys.
All right, so I had a little thought. We were talking about some of the cool things that you can do with tools and some of the more shade tree kind of methods that you can use, redneck methods, to get more creative and involved with your tools. But we were talking also previously about you have pretty much everything that you need or want for the most part, outside of doing an occasional review on a new tool that had come out with. Now, I've got pretty much everything that I need at work, and I pretty much had two sets, one at work, one at the house for the most part. Some stuff I took to work, other stuff I started chipping away and selling. A lot of it was nice stuff, but I like doing product reviews. I like trying out new stuff. But furthermore, I want to know, because I keep getting this backlash for people like, oh, that's not made in USA, or that's not a professional tool, you can't use that in a professional environment. I think I'm kind of like on one right now where I'm just out to prove everybody wrong, that you can't use what is referred to as a subpar or a less quality tool to do the job as a professional mechanic, whether it's DIY, weekend warrior, or you're doing it professionally at a dealership or independent shop. So as a result, I sold a lot of the stuff that I had, like the Matco stuff and the Cornwell and some Snap-on, and I reinvested it back into some newer product lines. Like I decided to try out, I got rid of the Matco cordless. I decided to go with the Makita, ended up going with the LXTs. I've got a video review coming up on that here pretty soon, but I just got done trying out the CXT, the reciprocating saw that they had. That thing's pretty cool, and I kind of put that through the ringer a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of down to the bare bones now at the house, to be honest. I only have my top two drawers that actually have stuff, and it's not a lot of stuff. I got basic stuff at the house: 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8, and then I have my combination wrench set, metric and SAE from Craftsman. It's an old set though, old made in USA one. And then I got some of the new Craftsman screwdrivers, and then I got just a small handful of pliers mixed up between Doyle and, God, I can't even remember the rest of them. Some Harbor Freight, Doyle, DeWalt, Mac maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was watching on your live stream, and I know the dude was,
he was taking cheap
sell
shots.
your tools and all this. So let me tell you something. I have good tools. A lot of them are good. I've got a DeWalt miter box saw. Works perfectly fine. I've got it up for sale. Why? Well, a long time ago, I was at a garage sale where a guy who, I don't know, he was rebuilding a boat or something he was doing. He was older now. He's retired. He doesn't want all these tools. And I bought a nice Delta miter box that's industrial. Okay, well, I don't need two of them, so I'm willing to get rid of that DeWalt now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's a matter of upgrading, and I made mention in the live stream, look, whether other people want to admit it or not, there are times I bought a tool. It's a good name brand tool, but I realized I'm never going to really use it, or it's something that I thought that I wanted and I really didn't.
Or you thought you'd use it more and it became a rare tool.
A Pache spray gun, and I had a friend make the same argument like this guy did. Why did you sell it and dump it off so cheap? I go, I just didn't want it anymore. It was sitting there collecting dust. I wasn't going to use it because I don't do automotive pinstriping, and I don't use airbrush tattoos and all this other stuff. It's incredibly, and it was an expensive, airbrush, okay? And then I got this little Badger, this 250 I keep making videos about because it's kind of what I'm into at the moment, and I'll probably do another one or two, and it's a $20 roughly airbrush, and it works fine for me and my projects at home. So,
well, and then
there's lots of reasons why you get rid of things that you have. I mean, it
remember
isn't
that
just,
old Hitachi
to make money.
Remember that old Hitachi abrasive saw you gave me a while back?
Yeah, it still works great.
Well, it did still work great, but I decided to upgrade that, I think about maybe a year ago or 6 months ago. I ended up selling it for, I don't know how much they cost, but I ended up selling it for $100.
There you go.
And I ended up buying a Milwaukee, which cost me just a hair over $200. So a little bit newer, but had more features, if you will. It had more features on it that I was like, oh, that's cool.
I bought that Hitachi beat up and used from a guy that I worked with. I even tested it, and I didn't have one, and I didn't have the money at the time, or I didn't want to spend it. I bought that for like 40, 50 bucks. Okay.
Nice.
And I used the hell out of that thing, and it works just as good as the new Rigid that I have in terms of just, just using it. But again, I wanted to upgrade, and rather than just throw it out or do something like that, Justin didn't have one, I gave it to him. I came across an oxyacetylene setup, and I knew I could get the gauges working, and I knew what it needed, and I had those parts at home. So I went ahead and I brought that set home. I fixed it up, and said, why don't you keep it? Well, I have one. So I gave it to him. So I ran across the drill press. I got a good deal on the drill press, nothing wrong, with the one that I had. I forgot the name brand.
It's Delta, right?
Yeah, the chuck key was a problem. It still is for him, but the easy thing to do.
I kind of figured it out though. I took a Milwaukee chuck bit and I grounded it all the way down, and I got it to kind of fit.
And you can do that. The other thing is, and it's not that expensive, you can get yourself a couple of blocks that are wedges and just take the chuck out of it and replace the chuck with a new chuck and a new chuck key. You can put a keyless one in if you want. But that drill press, all 12 speeds, the motor, everything worked on it perfectly fine. So sometimes I can't pass up the deal. I go ahead, I snatch it, especially when I'm getting it at a real cheap price, like a lot of these block planes and things I told you about, the guy that's going out of business. I keep them, I sell them, I trade them. I mean, we all do different things. So there's nothing wrong with getting rid of a tool to acquire something else, is my point.
Whether it's new or used.
Hang on one sec, folks. All right, folks, back with you again. We keep taking breaks because I have to go in and out of stores. We're running errands together. And so anyway, we were all talking about Harbor Freight. It's a hot topic. But, there's another place you can look at, I suppose, for bargains on tools. There's CPO outlets. I mean, somebody in the club that I'm in goes to CPO outlets. They're reconditioned with full warranties, and they swear by them and get good discounts sometimes and all that. And I've looked at them. They're okay. Nothing wrong with that. And then, we sit around, we talk about USA made versus out of China. And you got these people that want to thump the table and tell you it's all Chinese junk. Well, where do you think Makita comes from? And they're actually damn good tools because I own Makita.
I've never heard of CPO. Is that down here in the lower desert?
It's CPOoutlets.com online. No, it's online.
Is it kind of like Tooltopia almost? But
but they've
a
got
refurbished channel.
Yeah, it's like they refurbish.
Like the cameras and stuff that you and I were looking at once upon a time on Amazon, like where there was some that was refurbished and some that were brand new.
Yeah, it's like that. And what they do is, whether it's Rigid, Milwaukee, DeWalt, it doesn't matter. That you can go there. They're all categorized. And
they got any kind of warranty value behind it, or just like a 30-day kind of deal? Or
no, the guy in the club says he buys from there all the time. They stand behind their warranties. They got good customer service, and I'm like, yeah, all right. I mean, I've never tried them, to be honest, but I guess a lot of other people have. They've got a big following, but it's just not something I've ever done. But
worthwhile and looking into for sure, especially if you're trying to save some money and not necessarily buy it new, but don't really want to risk the gamble of buying it from a garage sale. And sometimes you come across some really good stuff in the garage sales, but I guess if you just don't know what the condition of it is, and you got a company that say, hey, we went to that garage sale, the thing was broke, we fixed it, here it is for you for 40 bucks or something, that might be worthwhile and check it out.
What they do is, I was talking to him, like somebody buys a new product, say you get it at Lowe's, and you bring it back because the trigger broke on it or something right after your first or second or fifth day of owner, whatever. And then these get returned, and this company, I guess, buys them. Somehow they got some deal or whatever they do, they buy them. They go in and they put a brand new trigger in them, and there's nothing wrong with them now. And then they give you the full, I don't know if it's full warranty, or for the most part you do get a warranty with it, but that's what this club's all about. Everybody is like bargain shopping constantly, and like I said, we talk about a lot of things that if something is a really good deal, I mean, I will usually try to bring it to YouTube and let you know. But
hey, I have a question in regards to, like, because you're kind of the home handyman, the maintenance man, you do a lot of your own work at the house. What's a pretty good little lineup or mixture of tools? Like, you got, I'm sure you have little things that you run into more, like a framing nailer. You might not use it very often, but it would be worthwhile in having. Or would you rather have like a finish nailer, something that you can, fix the trim on the inside of the house, or maybe some cabinetry? And then how do you choose between a brad nailer and a brad stapler? Like, as a handyman, what tools have you found whether cordless or pneumatic, that you find to be more beneficial? Do you like the corded route or do you like the air hose route?
Okay, so wow, that's
I know,
long
a lot.
question.
Sorry.
I favor corded tools, but I'm not a subcontractor or a contractor where I'm out on a job site. If I'm out on job sites or working on a roof or something, probably those cordless tools, you're not going to be able to beat it. But
because you did a lot of framing and plaster when you were younger, so I'm sure you've had your fair share of tools you needed on the job site and stuff that you now don't have to worry about doing full time.
Well, they didn't have all that stuff when I was growing up and going through those trades. They were all hand tools, and I did framing for a while, and you used a framing hammer. There weren't anything like that, but as I went along, some guys had the nail guns, and then I worked for a place for a while. It was a lathing company where they had pneumatic staplers that would shoot the lath paper, a staple into the lath paper and hold it to the studs. So, you know, I favor corded ones. In terms of nails and fasteners, if I can get away with it anytime. When I built that patio cover, I use good high quality, and they're not cheap, I can tell you that, but I use good high quality screws. You know, hex head, Torx, whatever. And that's the way I built that patio. I mean, I built that patio to last forever. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't need to worry about nails coming loose or, you know, or anything like that.
Did you use screws or did you use nails? I forgot. I ran nails.
Well, on the joist hangers, I use joist hanger nails.
Galvies.
Stuff like that. And on anything like that, yeah, I still use the traditional nails. And for me, I used a framing hammer. Mm-hmm. But I'm not talking about doing it every day on huge projects. And the rest of it, I use lag bolts and lag bolted it in like to the side of the building, and I lag bolted the hell out of it into the wall. And I used, when I built that massive workbench, I used all high-grade stainless steel, actually screws. I mean,
and see, here's a part of my inexperience here. So I started a patio project. I haven't finished it yet. I framed the whole thing for the most part, except for the joists. I didn't finish all of them. I just did the ones that I needed to hold the structure up as a whole. But here's my inexperienced part that I've found out the hard way after months of not touching it. The nails are starting to lift up out of the wood, so occasionally I have to go over and tap it back down because I don't have any siding on it yet. I haven't, you know, insulated or done anything with it. It's just the frame, and the boards that lay across flat where the other one comes up, they lift up sometimes, so I gotta tap them back down, and they lift up because of the sun, the heat, and the cold, and the heat, and the rain, and it's just like, it's starting to warp a little bit, and I'm like, please tell me I didn't waste all this money framing something that's just gonna have to be reframed in another year from now since I can't get to it.
Yeah, I use screws. I mean, I come in behind it with high quality, good screws.
You prefer galvanized screws, or does it matter?
I suppose you get away with galvanized. I use, like I said, I mean, I use, you know, stainless steel. Mm. They're called Power Grip.
Okay.
I got a video on it, but take a look.
Yeah, I did. I did see your video about the overall patio. It would have been cool to watch the process itself, like you cutting but I understand time, patience, trying to do multiple things at once.
You know, when I did that, because you're talking about, it's not weight, it's bulk. I had somebody help me because you're talking about getting sheeting material up on there, and then, you know, getting it down, and then putting the corrugated roofing on there, and then doing these long beams and joist hangers and all the stuff you go through. You have to have a helping hand. You got to have somebody helping you. Otherwise, could I have done it alone? Yeah, but it would have taken me twice as long, and it would have been more laborious. I mean, to be honest, it's a lot easier with help. But I used Tech Shield for the sheeting. I used all high quality stuff. I mean, I researched the hell out of everything before I went out and started buying the material. And I didn't buy my lumber from Home Depot or Lowe's. I bought it from Builder's Supply, which actually works with a lumber mill, and I got good lumber, good straight lumber. When they delivered it to me, all of those great big long, you know, 2x6s and whatever you see up there, they were all hand picked. They were perfectly straight. I didn't have any warps, twists, bows, nothing like that in there. I might have paid a little bit more for it, but it is a lot easier when you're building something to not mess around with lumber that's not straight. Okay.
So in building this project and not being on a job site anymore, not having to be in general construction, you obviously have had years and years to purchase things over time. What kind of tools went into this project, being a homeowner / handyman, not having all these high-end, expensive gizmos and gadgets they've come out with. Did you use pretty much hammer and a nail, or did you have some extra fancy stuff nowadays that you were like, hey, that was so much easier than 20 years ago?
I had a miter box saw, I had a tool belt, framing hammer, nails. I had a drill, and if you watch the video, like, well, somebody said, well, how did you get these great big posts and secure them to the wall? Well, once I had them to the wall and I had them plumb, I drilled in, and when I hit the wall, I switched over to a masonry bit, and I drilled in more till I hit the wood that's in the wall, because it's a framed stucco cemented wall. I switched over, and then I used the spade bit, and I went in not quite halfway, but you know, with a little bit larger diameter. Then I went ahead and I put the lag bolt in there. Then I used a pneumatic, actually, impact gun with a socket, and then that helped me to drive that lag bolt through the wood, through the cement and stucco and lath, and into that wood, and then secure that post. That's the way I did it, because I didn't want the bolts showing. And
I will
so
say that
I
will say that I like the Forstner bit.
Yeah.
A little bit better than the spade bit.
Well, the Forstner bit would have worked fine
Smoother
too,
cut.
but at the time I didn't have one that big, and I had plenty of spade bits that I bought from Irwin.
I'm still trying to figure out
I did
the
a video
purpose
on
in
those
having
too.
the spade versus the Forstner. Like, did the Forstner come out after the spade? Is that why everyone still jumps to the spade?
The Forstner bit serves a good purpose. A spade bit is going to have that triangular pointed tip on it, okay? And my Forstner bits don't. They are absolutely flat. So when you see Jordy Johnson and I bat things back and forth, if you've ever watched him, he does wood carving, and I sent him a thing. I said, I don't do it that way, dude. I put that up on my drill press. I use a Forstner bit, and I got a depth gauge, okay? And I just keep going up and down with my Forstner bit, because it will create an absolute flat depth into the surface of something.
That's a good idea.
I take the bulk of the wood out like that, and I don't mess around with it. And now the spade bit, of course, would have that tip, and you can't really do that. You were going to do a lot more hand carving. Okay,
yeah, so you get to jam it in there, and then
right, you do. And so this makes it a lot less. And so he texted me back and said, well, shit, man, that's a good idea. And I go, yeah, just hold on to it, because the drill press set correctly, you know, you want to make sure you got it clamped, you got a good grip on it. I mean, it'll
oh yeah,
it'll mess
you
you
see
up,
that concept ratchet that I did?
No.
That thing went spinning around, smacked me in the finger.
Folks,
I gotta go.
We're gonna wrap it up. We'll see you again soon. Watch his channel and his video.
All right, so this is my dad, the Home Handyman. This is his channel. Down in the description, you'll see it'll say the Home Handyman. Scroll on over to the subscribe button, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell. While you're at it, hit the thumbs up. It's free. I swear to God, it's free.
It's free. You'll see you on Justin's channel, and I'm gonna answer a video question. Where do I get horseshoes? Buy them from me. I will leave you across the bottom of the screen my email. I sell them competitively, I'll be honest with you, but a good portion of it goes towards feeding stray animals. So if you need them, buy them. If not, well, we'll talk about more projects soon. You folks have a great day.
Help feed an animal.
We'll see you soon.
See you guys
I'll put a little
next time.
cartoon up here of one of my cats. Bye, folks. Have a good day.
Hey, all you subscribers out there, don't forget to click the Amazon link and buy some products, because he gets a little commission, and from that, myself and my family and everybody get fed. We guard everything, but we get hungry, real hungry.